Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to and the Heavenly Father. The true name is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, by Hashem, and the name of Mashiach Kamshah. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. The Bible one that I saw the tongue, and I say, rock thumbs to the elders and apostles. I say, Shalom. So back out here again another day on the highways and hedges and T-Pest concourse on this October the 14th, 2025, on this Tuesday morning in Wadi Yahawashi, Mashai. You know, as always, for giving us the opportunity to come out here and do so, lifting up the names of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, His only begotten Son, Mashiach Kamshai, and Wadi Yahawashi, Mashai. As always, for the campus about with the holy angels, we're out here teaching on the highways and hedges and T-Pest concourse now, so more than ever. Right along with the elders and apostles Wa'akim. And once again, Barakatham to the elders and apostles Wa'akim Wa'akwa, and I say Shalom. Bring out some news articles as always through the Spirit, Power, Grace, and Mercy of Yahweh Yahawashi as we continue to, measure the time diligently so as we continue to occupy prophecies. It says military experts estimated how many U.S. Tomahawks can be sent to Ukraine. The Russian-Ukraine situation is only going to intensify. It says former colonizers fueling African tensions. Boy, what's that? What you call that? Nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. That's St. Mark the 3rd chapter. It says. And this is a news article as of October 14th, 2025. It reads, it says anti-Israel clashes. It says claims 5 lies in Pakistan. It said, and at the same time, you already got tensions are heating up between the Afghanis and the Pakistanis as well too. So this is what you call uproars in the people of the world, like it says in the book of Luke 21, verse 25, and then second address, 9 verse 3. It says a march in response to President Donald Trump's Gaza ceasefire deal has turned into violence in a state in Punjab. It says a violent clashes between Pakistanis and police members of the Islamic group Pakistan at a anti-Israel protest in a border state in Punjab has resulted into the unaliving of 5 people. Local media reports on Monday. The group organizers on the march on response to U.S. Donald Trump's President's recent announcements of a ceasefire deal to end the Gaza war. It opposes the Pakistan supports of the peace initiative. It says demonstrators shot and killed a police officer and wounded others. The Punjab police inspectors General Usman Azman told the newspaper the nation's 3 protesters. It says 3 protesters, and one who passed by was also unalive in the clashes before the demonstrators were dispersed. The outlet added the clashes outlasted more than 3 hours, according to the media reports. It says more than 50 police personnel were badly injured in the clashes, according to the report. It says newspapers dawn. It says the march from Yarar near the Indian border to the capital of Istanbul, covering the distance nearly 400 kilometers and 248 miles. Began on Friday, Reuters said, according to the official society by dawn, 1,500 policemen were anti-riot gear supported by the 4 armed personnel carriers and water cannons surrounding the protest camp along the Grand Trunk Road. It says one of the oldest roads in the linking Central Asia to the Indian subcontinent. It says the Pakistani authorities says that numerous protesters were arrested and deterred like the claims that the police fired on its supporters, resulting in several other lives and injuries. It says Reuters reported that the group's leaders, Sabah Ravi, were also injured, receiving 3 bullet wounds, according to the report. Right, so these are, Luke 21, verse 25. There shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars upon the earth, the stress of nations will perplexity rich roaring. So we're going to second see more increasing seditions and protests among the nations. Was that nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, mighty ruler against mighty ruler. So that should be sedition among men, everybody one another. Nation after God, their kings, their princes, of course, actually standing power. So expect to see more uproars and more protests that we see as the days progresses on. So bring out some more news articles. News. And Shalom to the Akim that's on the comment board. And Yahawashi, Mash Shop, Rocket 5 to you, yours, your household. And I say Shalom. And Salaki. See if I can be able to load it up. It says this is a Middle East, which is Western Asia. Monitor reports. It says a Hamas spokesperson accuses of Israel of violating ceasefires after deadly attacks. Right, so they've been doing that for a very long time. They've been breaking covenants, breaking ceasefires. So we're gonna see how long. This ceasefire is gonna last between both sides. Because in history, history repeats itself between deals the Israelis been having with the nations, especially with these ceasefires and ceasefire violence they've been breaking over there in Syria, over there in Lebanon, and over there in the Gaza Strip as well too. So we're gonna see how it's gonna last long. It says this is from Daily Showbomb news article from the last 2 hours reports. It says Aragon vows to stand with Gaza after the ceasefire monitoring Israel. Right, because you're still going to have the president, so you're still going to have the president is still going to be standing with, with those pro-Iranian groups and those, I would say pro-Iranian groups and those proxy groups. He's still going to stand firm with them. What's that Ezekiel 38 chapter? It says Russia is going to be guard to these nations of Iran, Ethiopia, Libya, and Turkey. They all going to team up together, going against the Israel defense force, especially over there in Syria. So it makes perfect sense, It says Israel. It said this is from Yemen news agencies. It says the Israeli bombing made 5 civilians killed in Gaza. So that shows the example right there. They're supposed to hold on. They're part of the ceasefire deal, but they still bombing people, innocent people. It says Turkey. It says Turkey, Iraq presses forces and Netanyahu to pull from Gaza summit. And so basically, you're still going to be seeing those tensions heating up between those Israel defense forces. Right, so basically, you're still going to have those tensions heating up between those nations. It says, this is from Evening Standard. It says 6 people unalive as an IDF open fires after violence is Wow. And so, already it was like the past couple of days. It was like the past couple of days they had a ceasefire agreement, and now you're starting to see reports starting to come out that the IDF is breaking these ceasefire violations once again. Oh man. Oh, that's really going to stir up more tensions once again over there in the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, Palestinian territory. News article from Stan.UK. It says News World reports. It says 6 unalive as the IDF opened fires on suspects after a violation of the Gaza ceasefire agreement. It says under the phase of the historical peace deal brokered by the United States and the Israeli militaries will remain controlled in nearly 60% of the besieged Palestinian territory. It says Israeli. It says Israeli troops. It says Israeli troops has been accused of opening fire on Palestinians less than 24 hours after the ceasefire took effect. It says health authorities in the besieged Palestinian territory reported that at least 6 people have been unalive by the Israeli gunfire in 2 separate incidents on Tuesday morning. It says it comes a day after Hamas freed 20 living Israeli hostages, while the Israel sent more than 30 prisoners back to Gaza. It says that the Israel Defense Force confirms that the soldiers had shot dead. It says it says the Israel Defense Forces confirmed its soldiers shot dead and the suspects in the Jaria neighborhood in the Gaza City. It says military officials claim that the suspects' movement constitutes a violation of the ceasefire agreement ratified by the Israelis and Hamas. So I guess both sides are breaking the ceasefire agreement. That's what it seems like, according to the news reports. It says that the suspects did not comply, continue to approach the forces, and the forces carried out the shootings to remove the threat, the IDF says in a statement. It says the IDF calls on the residents of Gaza to take heed to the IDF instructions and then not operate in the forces deployed in the area. It says Israel also denied reports that other suspects or gunmen has managed to breach armies and so what's that? 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 3, from when it shall say peace and safety, some destruction come upon them as you bear when the child shall not escape. So as according to the news article, according to the news report, so still continue to see tensions are only going to escalate over there in that area. It's still going to continue. It's not going to fully settle down, Now, even though they agreed to that ceasefire deal and then those 20 Israeli hostages was returned in exchange for the Palestinian prisoners, but we're still going to have tensions are only going to continue to heat up over there in the area. Even though we starting to see the withdrawal of the militaries over there from the Israel Defense Force, but you're still going to have tensions over there heating up over there in the area. Because you're still going to have clashes and seditions among those nations. But you're still going to have those resistance of those Palestinians over there in that area. And then they're still going to be targeting those Israel Defense Force over there in the area. So that's another sign of that Luke 21 verse 25 and that 2 Edges 9 verse 3. It says Israeli kills 9. It says Israel's unalive 9 Palestinians hours after the truce begins. Right, so expect to see tensions are only going to happen in that area, as I mentioned before. So that's another sign of wars and rumors of wars, nation against nations and kingdom against kingdoms. So in the meantime, I'll bring out some scriptures. The spirit by mercy, Yahawashi. We have this is the book of Jeremiah. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 28. This is the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 28, verse 8. It says, the prophets that happened before thee and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and great kingdoms of war, evil, and a pestilence. So these war, evil, and a pestilence are only going to continue to increase, and that's what we see in our world too. So expect to see nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Around the world, that's only going to continue to increase. You're still going to have the modern day pestilence are increasing. these pestilence, these wars and evils is only going to continue to increase. So we're out here prophesying against great countries and great kingdoms of war, evil, and pestilence, and that's what we're seeing. And this is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 46. It's the book of Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 46. It says, these shall harm vainly fearful woman that shall hurt the land. And a woman should come over 1 year. After that, another year should come a ruler, and by the land rule against ruler. Right, so that's what we're seeing, modern rule against modern ruler. Just like that was happening in the days of Jeremiah, where it was times once again. And this is the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter. And this is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 6. It says, ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must first come to pass, but the end is not yet. Right, so these wars and rumors of wars is only going to continue to increase. Especially expect to see more tensions are only going to escalate between those Palestinians versus the Israel Defense Force, despite the fact they got a ceasefire agreement that was signed what was that, day before yesterday? So ever since then, you had like 9 Palestinians was unalive by the Israelis after that, couple of hours after that ceasefire agreement. This is Matthew 24, verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, right? The IDF versus against the resistance of the Palestinians. Russia versus Ukraine, North Korea versus South Korea, Japan, the United States, China versus the Philippines. These are nation against nations, with these protests and these seditions among the nations. It says, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence. Right, so we're going to be seeing these modern day famines and pestilence and the earthquakes in diverse places. Right, so that's only going to continue to increase. And bring out that Ecclesiasticus chapter 39, verse 1, as we continue to occupy prophecies and measure the time diligently set down, so we'll never. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 39, verse 1. It says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, Yahawashi, and is occupied in meditation thereof, and seek out the wisdom of all ancient and be occupied in prophecies. So we're going to continue to seek out the wisdom of all ancient and be occupied in prophecies, to the best of our ability. And this is the book of 2nd Hedges. This is the book of 2nd Hedges, chapter 9, verse 1. It says, he answered me then and said, measure not the time diligently in yourself, but thou seest a part of the signs past which I had so before. Right, so we're going to continue to measure the time diligently in yourself, but thou seest a part of the signs past which I had so before. Because these prophecies that's going to come to pass fulfilled, just like that's going to happen these times as well too. So that's why we're measuring the time diligently and stuff, now, so we'll never have that spiritual discernment as being service of prophecy unto Yahawashi. And this is the prophet Isaiah. And this is the prophet Isaiah chapter 62, verse 6. It says, I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day or night. Ye that make mention of the Heavenly Father, keep not thy silence. So we're going to continue to make mention of the Heavenly Father, keep not thy silence, to the best of our ability. This is Isaiah chapter 62, verse 7. It says, give him no rest until he establishes to make Jerusalem the praise of the earth. Right, because we are Jerusalem, the Israelites. So we're going to continue to make mention of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, until he made Jerusalem the praise of the earth once again. And this is the book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, verse 1. It says, to everything there is a season and a time and every purpose in heaven. Right, so we're living these modern day time seasons and purpose in heaven, which is modern day biblical signs and the signs of times. And we'll go to verse 7. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, verse 7. It says, in that time to reign, in that time to sow, in that time to keep silent, in that time to speak. Right, what's that Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 3. For the vision of the shepherd appointed time, and shall speak, now like to every great for because we should come not terrible. So these prophecies are not terrible because they are coming past and be fulfilled. We're in those times. So we're in a time of speaking of prophecies that's going to come past and be fulfilled right along these biblical signs. Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, verse 8. It says, in that time to love, in a time of HATE, in a time of war, time of peace. Right, so we still live in a time of war, and we live in a time of HATE. So that's only going to continue to increase. We have Jeremiah 28, verse 9. Yeah, this is Jeremiah chapter 28. It's a lot here. This is Jeremiah chapter 28, verse 9. It says that the prophet was prophesied in peace. One word of the prophet shall come to pass. Then shall the prophet be known that Yahweh has truly sent. Right, so the prophecies are still going to come to pass, be fulfilled. And these, let's see. And this is the prophet Joel, chapter 3, verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty man, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Right, the Gentiles are the armies of the other nations. The Heavenly Father's going to put that warlike mindset on a daily basis. That's what we're seeing on a daily basis increase. It says, wake up the mighty man, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Right, so let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. That's what we're seeing. This is Joel chapter 3, verse 10. It says, beat your plowshares and swords and the pointing guns into spears, and let the weak say I'm strong. While these are armies of nations. So let the weak say I'm strong, so that's something that continues to increase. Just like you still going to have the pro-Iranian groups still going against the Israel Defense Force, especially over there in the Mediterranean Sea, over there in the Red Sea, throughout that whole region. You're still going to have tensions over there in the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, the Palestinian territory, throughout that whole area, and especially over there in Syria as well, too. So expect to see that continue to increase. They all going to team up together going against the Israel Defense Force. But you're still going to have the Israel Defense Force using airstrikes against those Syrian armies, the pro-Iranian groups, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. They all... the IDF, which is the Israel Defense Force, going to continue to use airstrikes over there throughout that whole area. And they still be going against the Houthi rebels over there as well too. Okay, so expect to see estimates only going to continue to increase. So just like you had the Incredible Orange a couple of days ago saying there's going to be peace in the Middle East. No, it's not going to be no 100% peace over there in the Middle East. It's only going to tensions are only going to continue to increase. And it makes perfect sense because you look at the scriptures of Matthew 24th chapter. Wars and rumors of wars, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, which is only going to continue to increase. And this is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 11. It says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, right, the armies of the other nations. It says, and gather yourselves together round about thither to cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. This is the prophet Joel, chapter 3, verse 12. It says, let the heathen be awakened and come against the battle of most of them. For there I will sit and judge all the heathen round about. Watch the heavenly Father sit and judge all the armies of the heathen nation round about. Joel 3, verse 13. It says, put ye in the sickle for the harvest is river, coming ye down from pressing forward. It says, for the fast, for the weakness is great. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 14. It says, multitudes and the multitudes and the valley of decision. For the day of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh is made a bad decision. Right, so the day of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh is made a bad decision. So just like the Incredible Orange, Esau, Edom, modern day Nero, thinking it's going to be a peace in the Middle East. He said he said that's an end to it. No, you can't stop with the works. Esau can't stop with the works of what the Heavenly Father's doing. What's that Isaiah? What's that prophet Isaiah chapter 55 verse 11? Hey, the words of the Heavenly Father doesn't go on void. These prophecies are not going to go on void. And this is the book of Isaiah chapter 34. Yeah, this is the book of Isaiah chapter 34 verse 8. It says, for it is the year, it said, for this is the day of, it says, for this is the day of Yahweh's vengeance and the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion. Right, for the controversy of Zion. And this is the book of Isaiah chapter 17. Yeah, this is the prophet Isaiah chapter 17 verse 1. It says, the burden of Damascus. Yeah, it says, the burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus take away from being the city, and there shall be Israel heat. Right, so Damascus and Syria is still going to be taken away from being the city, and there shall be Israel heat. But that's a future prophecy that we see in the making this world too over there in Syria. So expect to see these nations are all going to continue to clash against one another. So it's only going to continue to increase, even though you got the people over there in Syria, they're trying to rebuild back, and it's going to be a ruined heap over there in the area. This is Isaiah chapter 17 verse 9. Yeah, this is Isaiah chapter 17 and verse 9. Yep, Isaiah 17 and verse 9, Salakia. It says, Isaiah chapter 17 verse 9, it says, in that day that shall his strong cities be for a shaking, brought as a uppermost part branch, and they shall because of the children of Israel, and they shall be desolate. Right. That land should be desolate. That area should be fully 100% desolate. And this is the prophet Isaiah. This is the prophet Isaiah, chapter 13, verse 17. It says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which they shall not regard silver, and as for gold, that shall not lie in it. Right, so you're still going to have the Russian-Ukrainian situation still going to intensify. So as for gold and silver, that shall not lie in it. So the Heavenly Father's going to stir up the Russians, like in South Africa, once before, and that's going to happen. And This is the book of Luke 21, Salakia. This is the book of Luke 21 and verse 9. It says, but when you shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not yet by and by. Right, so it's going to come to pass, but it's not going to end just yet end by and by. These modern day wars, commotions are heating up between these nations, especially in Western Asia. This is Luke 21 and verse 10. It says, then say he unto them, nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Right, that goes to Ephesus. And this is, so I'm going to leave that there. Get to that Ezekiel 38th chapter. Get to that Ezekiel 38th chapter. So these Russia-Ukraine situations are only going to intensify. Right. Wait for this to load up. And this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, verse 1. Yep, this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, verse 4. It says, now return thee back and put horses in our jaws, and will bring thee forth in all thy army, horse and horsemen. All of them call for all sorts of armor, even a great couple of bucket shoes, all of having swords. Right, so Russia is still going to be in that warlike mindset. So while you have the Russia-Ukraine situation heating up, you're still going to have the tensions are heating up between Iran versus the Israelis as well too. So expect to see the Israelis use a nuclear strike once again against Iran, because Iran is going to continue building up that nuclear capability. So the tensions are still going to be there between the Iranians and the Israelis. Ezekiel chapter 30, verse 5, it says, Persia, which is Elam, Ethiopia, the Cushites, Libya, will put all of them with shit of him. Right, so these are the allies Russia is our allies with. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 30, verse 6. It says Gomer, right? Because you had that news article about the president of Turkey, of Erdogan, say he still stands with those people there in Gaza. He still stands with those Ishmaelites. It says Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togomo, of the Doorporters, all his bands, many people with him. This and it makes perfect sense as well too, but you got military bases over there in Iraq and Syria from Turkey, and they're going to set their sights against the Israel Defense Force, because the other Kurdish, their arms are going to team up with them. This is Ezekiel chapter 30, verse 7. It says, be thou prepare for thyself and all thy companies that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Right, so Russia is going to be a guard to these nations of Iran, Ethiopia, Libya, and Turkey. This is Ezekiel chapter 30, verse 8. It says, after many days thou shalt be visited, and in the latter years thou shalt come in the land that is brought back forth from the sword. It says, and it's scattered out of many people. It says, against the mountains of Israel. It says, which have been always waste, but is brought back forth out of the nations, and they showed the world safely all of them. This is Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 9. It says, thou shalt ascend and come up like a stone. It says, thou shalt ascend like a cloud to cover the land. Thou and all thy bands, so many people with you. This is Ezekiel chapter 39, verse 1. It says, therefore thou son of man, prophesy against God, saying, thus said the heavenly Father Yahweh. That's what we're doing right now, just like our forefathers did. It says, behold, I am against thee, O God, and treat us in respect to them. This is Ezekiel chapter 39, verse 2. It says, I will turn thee back and leave on the sixth part of thee, and I will cause to come up from your parts, and bring thee upon the mount of Israel. This is Ezekiel chapter 39, verse 3. It says, I will smite thy bow out of left hand, and I will cause an arrow to fly thy right hand. All right, this is Revelation chapter 14. Yeah, this is the book of Revelations 11, verse 14. It says, the second woe passed, behold, the third woe coming quickly. Why? So the second woe coming past, behold, the third woe coming quickly, which is Armageddon, Armageddon 1. So expect to see tensions are only going to escalate over there in Western Asia between these armies of nations, and that's what we're seeing. So expect to see nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, wars and rumors of wars that Yahawashi spoke about. So these the third war's war, that's a major prophecy that's going to come to pass and fulfill. And so I'm going to switch up the topic and get into the Revelation 13th chapter. And this is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 16. It says, and it calls them all, both small and great, rich and poor, frail bond. So receive a charagma in their right hand, or in their F-R-E-H-E-D-S. Right, so this charagma which is the RFID CHIP that they want to implant insert in your body in order for you to buy or sell. Because we're getting closer and closer to the cashless society. So they're pushing up this technology chip that's going to be implemented around the world in order for you to buy or sell and do transactions. So this is going to be the new, new economical form. This is going to be the new norm of the new economical system that we're about to enter into, especially with these 15-minute cities, these smart cities, with this AI finance, this AI technology. So this is what they're pushing for, and this technology chip, this neural link. Because you had, what was that, day before yesterday, you had like 10,000 people sign up for this brain chip that they want to implant so in your body in order for you to buy or sell and do transactions. So we're leaning towards that direction. So we're seeing, the digital dollar, digital ID, digital wallet, digital currency, Bitcoin, stablecoin, cryptocurrency. So this is a major prophecy that we're about to see about to come to pass. We feel, and it makes perfect sense because we're living in the book of Revelation, because everything's been revealed in the book of Revelation. And this is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 16. It says, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. Why so? He calls of all the son of perdition. It says, he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their FOREHEDS. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 17. It says that no man might buy or sell, say that he had the charagma, or the name of the BASC or number's name. Right, so that no man might buy or sell, that they have this technology device that wants to implement concerning your body. Revelation chapter 13, verse 18, it says, here is wisdom, right? Because the book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 4 says, knowledge shall be increased. It says, here is wisdom, let him have understanding, count the number of the BASC, for it is a number of a man, and his number is SIX, 300 SIX. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 14, verse 8. It says, and they are fallen another end, saying, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. It's a great city because she had made all the nations drink the wine of wrath of fornication, right, to this day. Revelation chapter 14, verse 9, it says, and the third angel followed him, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the BASC, his image, and whosoever receiveth the charagma, his FOREHED on his hand. Revelation chapter 14, verse 10, it says, the same shall drink the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which poured without mixture, and his cup of his indignation. And he should be torn with fire and brimstone in the presence of holy and the presence of Lamb. Why should we take that RFID CHIP chip? You're going to get hit with fire and brimstone in the presence of holy and the presence of Lamb. Which is Yahawashi and the angels. You're going to feel that wrath for Yahweh's will too. If you take that and take that micro receipt that was going to. Revelation chapter 14, verse 11. It says, and the smoke of the atonement is sending up from heaven ever. They have no rest day or night. Who worship the BASC his image, and whosoever receiveth the charagma his name. And this is the book of Revelations. That's the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 10. It says, because thou hast kept the words of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try to dwell upon the earth. Right, so as we enter this new economical system, this technology device that they want to make mandatory throughout the whole planet Earth, we're seeing signs of that. So in order for you to buy and sell. So we want to be on the side of the Heavenly Father, how we we got side by check, and not trust in this beast system, this economic system that we're about to enter into. So as long as we continue to keep the paces of the words of the Mashak Abishai out on rotten side, he keeps us from the application. Because this is what we're about to enter into, This is what we have to sound in the moment about, All right. It's the book of switch up the topic. So we're going to continue to prophesy against modern day Mount Seir and modern day Babylon the Great. And this is the book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 1. It says, and after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was like of his glory. Verse 2. It says, he cried mighty, but they, it says, Revelation 18, verse 2. It says, they cried mighty, but they swallowed one sin. It says, Babylon the Great is fallen. Right, so we're seeing Babylon the Great is fallen. It's become the habitation of deceivers, and they hold every foul spirit, and they cage every unclean HATEF you have heard. Right, so that's what modern day spiritual Babylon the Great holds towards the nations still to this day. Revelation chapter 18, verse 3. It says, for all the nations shall drunk the wine and ride for fornication. It says, and the kings of the earth who had committed fornication for, and the mercies of the earth are racked switched to the amounts of delicacies. Right, still to this day. But this is modern day spiritual Tower of Babel, and this is modern day spiritual Babylon the Great. Revelation chapter 18, verse 4, it says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not protected from sins, receive none of her plagues. Right, so Yahawashi told us to come out of the ways of Babylon, be not protected from sins, receive none of her plagues. Revelation chapter 18, verse 5, it says, for her sins have risen to heavens, and Yahweh has remembered her iniquities. Watch the Sunday. Revelation chapter 18, verse 6, it says, reward her even as she rewarded you double, according to her love, according to her works, and the cup she had filled to her double. Revelation chapter 18, verse 7, and it reads to the Holy Scriptures. It says how much she had glorified herself, right? Babylon the Great. How much she had glorified herself and lived the listen. So much sorrow and sorrow give for her, for she had set in her heart, I say, the queen, I'm the widow, and shall sing her sorrow. Revelation chapter 18, verse 8, it says, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, mourning, and famine. And she shall be utterly brought before fire for Yahawashi, and shall be judged for her, like life and soul. It says, lemon for Babylon. Revelation chapter 18, verse 9, it says, and the leaders of the earth who had committed fornication for her, and lived illicitly shall word her, and shall lemon for her, and shall see smoke for her. Once they lived illicitly for her, and shall word her, and shall lemon for her, and shall see smoke for her. Revelation chapter 18, verse 10, it says, standing afar off in fearful atonement, saying, at last, that great city Babylon, for in 1 hour, that mighty city, for in 1 hour thy judgment come, right, for in 1 hour thy judgment come on Babylon the Great. Now if we get to Isaiah the 47th chapter, so we're going to continue to be in the spirit of shutting down Babylon the Great, and Wadi Yahawashi. This is the book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter. And this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 47, verse 1. It says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne of the daughter of the Chaldeans, but thou shalt be no more called tender and delicacy. Right, so thou shalt not be called tender and delicacy. A virgin daughter of Babylon, sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. And it makes perfect sense too, because Babylon committed sin against the nations, committed sin against the children of Israel in ancient times, now in modern day times. So just like our forefathers was prophesying against ancient Babylon, now we're prophesying against modern day spiritual Babylon, and Wadi Yahawashi. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 47, verse 2. It says, take the millstone and grind near the uncovered thy lots. It says, make bare the legs uncovered, thy thighs and pass over the rivers. This is Isaiah 47, verse 3, and it reads, it says, thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thou shalt be, it says, shame shall be seen. It says, I will take men, and I will not meet thee as men. Right, so the Heavenly Father's not going to meet thee as men, because the Heavenly Father's going to come with that fathership, that chariot. And it was that Psalm 68, verse 17. The chariots of the Heavenly Father is thousands and 10,000s. You know, that's how powerful the Heavenly Father is. So he's going to rain righteous judgment on modern day Babylon the Great, and the daughter of the Chaldeans as well too. Because she's not going to be called no more lady of kingdoms. Hey, Wadi Yahawashi. This is Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 4. It says, as for our Redeemer, Wadi Yahawashi, it says, his name. Isaiah chapter 47, verse 5. It says, sit thou on solid and get into the darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, but thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. Right, so thou shalt be called no more the Lady of Kingdoms. And the Wadi Yahawashi. So we see in the downfall of Babylon. And this is the book of Psalms 137. Yeah, this is the book of Psalms 137, verse 8. It says, O daughter of Babylon, art to restored. Happy shall it be that before thee that has served us. Right, so that judgment of Babylon the Great is going to happen. It's going to occur. Because as I mentioned again, they committed sin against the children of Israel. And Babylon is very good at that righteous recompense from Yahawashi. Yeah, the book of Jeremiah, the 51st chapter. Jeremiah, 50th chapter, makes sense. This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 1. It says the word that Yahweh spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet, by our forefather. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 2. It says declaring Jeremiah 50, verse 2. It says, declaring ye among the nations and publish, and set up a standard and publish and conceal now, saying Babylon is taken. It says Bel is confounded. Merodach is broken into pieces, and her idols are confounded. And it says, and her images are broken to pieces. Hey, Jeremiah 50 and verse 3. It says, for out of the north there shall come up a nation against her, what shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein, and they shall remove they shall depart, both man and beast. Right, so that's how Babylon's gonna be made desolate from Yahawashi Mashai. He's gonna use the land of the nations from the north, and the Wadi Yahawashi Mashai. Jeremiah 50 and verse 4. It says, in those days, in that time, saith Yahweh, that the children of Israel shall come, they shall, the children of Judah together, going and weeping, and they shall go and seek Yahweh their power. That's what we're doing right now. We're saying Yahweh got power, just like our forefathers said. We in the same spirit. These are times as well too. Hey, so sitting the just, O virgin daughter of Babylon, at Wadi Yahawashi Mashai. Yeah, this is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 11. It says, make ripe the arrows, like those arrows as missiles, and gather the shields, and Yahweh has raised up the spirit of the kings and Medes for Yahweh. Yeah, this is for his devices against Babylon, right? His device against Babylon. It's right, like it says, like Isaiah 13, verse 17, in Jeremiah the 50th chapter 12 too, to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the houses of the temple, right? The temple are his people, the Israelites. And Wadi Yahawashi Mashai, so sitting just, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Continuing on with Revelation the 18th chapter. So we're going to continue to prophesy against modern day Babylon the Great. This is Revelation chapter 18 and verse Shalom Yahawashi Mashai Barakatah to your household Yahawashi Mashai Barakatah. Revelation chapter 18 and verse 11. It says, that's verse 17. Yeah, Revelation chapter 18 and verse 11. Yeah, Revelation 18 and verse 11. It says, and the merchants of the earth. It says, Revelation 18 and verse 11. It says, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn. Right, so the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn, but no man buy her merchandise anymore. Right, so ain't no more is gonna buy her merchandise anymore. And Wadi Yahawashi Mashai. Down goes Babylon. Hey, what they said, down goes Frazier. Hey, down goes Babylon. Hey, Wadi Yahawashi Mashai. Hey, the Heavenly Father's gonna hit Babylon with that right hook. Down goes Babylon. Ding, 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 ding. Revelation chapter 18, verse 12, it says, the merchants of the gold and silver, and the precious stones, and the apparels, and the fine linen. It says, purple and silver and scarlet, and let all thy wood, and all manner of vessels, and all manner of vessels, and most precious woods, brass, iron, and marble. Revelation chapter 18, verse 13, it says, and sit them in order in ointments, and frankincense, and wine, and oil, and fine flour, and wheat, and beasts, and sheep, and horses, chariots, slaves, souls, and men. This is the book of Revelation chapter 18, verse 14, and it reads to the Holy Scriptures. It says, in the fruit, it says, and the fruit, and thy lusts, and after are the part from thee, and all the things which were dainty and goodly are the part from thee, and thou shalt find no more at all. Revelation 18, verse 15, and the merchants of these things were made rich by her, and stand afar off. It says, for the fear of atonement, saying, weeping and wailing. Revelation chapter 18, verse 16 reads, saying, at last, that great city that was clothed with fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and apparels. Verse 17, for in 1 hour so great riches comes not. Yeah, so for 1 hour great riches comes not. And every ship masts all the companies and ships and sailors, as many trade by sea still afar off. Revelation chapter 18 and verse 18, it says, and I cried when I saw the smoke of burning, saying, what city like unto this great city? Revelation chapter 18 verse 19, and they cast dust in their heads, and they crying, weeping and wailing, saying, at last, that great city and were made rich, and all had ships in the sea by reason. For her causes, for in 1 hour she is made desolate. Right, for in 1 hour she's going to be made desolate. Revelation 18 verse 20, rejoice over her, thou ye heavens, ye holy apostles, and prophets, for Yahweh has vengeance on her. The Wadi Yahawashi Mashai. Revelation chapter 18 verse 21, it says, and a mighty angel took a stone like a great millstone, and cast it into the sea. It says, thus what should that great city Babylon should be thrown down and shall be found anymore at all. Right, so thus what should that great city Babylon should be found no more at all. Verse 22, Revelation 18 verse 22, it says, and the voice of the harpers and musicians, and the pipers and the trumpets shall be heard among all thee. It says, no craftsman who ever crafted thee should be found anymore in thee, and the sound of the millstone should be heard among all thee. Revelation 18 verse 23, and the light of the candle shall be shining among all thee, and the voice of the bridegrooms and of the bride should be heard among all thee. It says, the great men of the earth, for by sorcery all nations deceived, right still to this day. Revelation 18 verse 24, it says, the herd was found the blood of the prophets and the saints, and all that was slain upon the earth. And so we're going to see the downfall of modern day Babylon the Great. And the Heavenly Father's going to deliver Esau, Edom as well too. Raising even to the foundation. That's the book of Psalms 137. This is second Edge 6 verse 7. It says, then answer I say, what shall be the pardon of 7 times? Or when shall be the end? It says, or when shall be the end of before the beginning of it that followed? Second Edge 6 verse 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac and Jacob, when Esau was born of him, Jacob said first and held of Esau. Second Edge 6 verse 9. For Esau is in the world, Jacob get a father. And so Esau's in the world, Jacob get a father. And he's sitting in the dust of virgin out of Babylon. And Yahawashi Mashah. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Hey, shalom to you, Malaka. And Yahawashi Mashah, rock thoughts to you, your household, as always. So with that, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to say Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, and the Heavenly Father, the true name is Yahweh, and his own begotten Son, Bahashem, and name of Mashah Hamshah. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lashma Kadasha Torah. And I say Barak Thumb to the elders and apostles with Akim Akwaf. Until next time, I would say Kwame Asherala and the Ball. Shalom.